Hello and welcome. This is John Vroman and you are watching or listening to 4 Minutes in the Front Row. Today, I'm talking about a concept called 8 weeks to appreciation. And ultimately, this started with one conversation leading to one experiment and one big revelation in my life. Now, first, the conversation. So I'm talking with my friends, Sim and Rachel. We're talking about their religious practices. And I think at this one particular part of the conversation, we're talking about how during a particular moment of the month, they do not have any physical touch. And I asked, well, when you are able to then touch, what's that like? And they're like, it's awesome. Because when you're separated and you get back together, it's so great. And you're so excited to be reunited. I thought there's something to this. There's magic there. How can I apply this to my own life so that I can learn to appreciate things that I might be taking for granted right now? So I created a game for myself. It's called 8 Weeks to Appreciation. And each week I had a system where I would eliminate certain things in my life that I thought maybe I was taking for granted and I could learn to appreciate them again. So for example, I thought I'll only listen to the radio in my car on Mondays. That's it. Only allowed to turn on the radio on Mondays. I will have no TV except for Sunday. I will have only one glass of wine during any meal at any time during the next 8 weeks. And I did a few other things, but ultimately, I'll tell you where this ended up. After I eliminated something from my life, I learned to appreciate it so much more. And let's face it, there's so many things in life we take for granted. I mean, if the electricity went off globally for the next 30 days, how much do you think we would learn to appreciate that electricity? Even when it came back on, every day, we would be so grateful that it was there. But most times we don't wake up and are living in gratitude of electricity because we've learned to take it for granted. In this particular experiment, I remember one day getting in my car on a Sunday, and I could listen to the radio. I think it was that I could only listen on a Monday. So in my car on a Sunday, I remember getting really excited. And I was like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to be able to listen to the radio again. And I remember the anticipation of it was even exciting. Then I get in my car on Monday and I'm like, this is so great. I get to listen to my radio. And I really appreciated it way more than I did before because I had one day to listen to the radio. And then I remember the next day getting in my car and where I wasn't able to listen to the radio and appreciating the silence, appreciating this pattern interrupt of my life, causing me to think or feel differently. Well, ultimately, this experiment was a huge success. I learned the power of appreciating something by removing it from my life. And since then, I've done all sorts of challenges. I've done no alcohol, no coffee challenges for 90 days. I even went once for a couple years without any alcohol. And I've done these experiments to try to appreciate those things in my life. I even remember talking with a friend who traveled a lot. And I said, is that hard on your marriage? And my friend said, it's the perfect amount of travel. Because when I'm gone, we learn to appreciate each other. Too much would be really hard on the marriage, but we leave each other just enough so that we appreciate one another. What can you systematically, intentionally remove from your life, maybe temporarily, so that you can learn to appreciate it again? Maybe you try on this challenge. Maybe it's 1 week or 4 weeks or 8 weeks, maybe longer. And maybe you do your own experiment with your own activities to try to minimize or eliminate something for a period of time so that you will gain a deeper sense of appreciation for it. And do that before we lose these things forever. Let's learn to appreciate the things that we have in our lives right now. That is living a front row life. Present, now, in this moment. That is a front row life. Until next week, until next time, keep living your life in the front row.